Hello there, welcome to the Airgun Gear Show. Granted, there's always a bit of a gap between my videos and I'm playing catch up on this one, so let's just get on with it, shall we? This is the FX Airguns DRS and it's like nothing we've ever seen before. Or have we? I'll come to that a little bit later. Anyway, this is my review of the new, couple of months behind, FX Airguns DRS. And this is the 2.2 sub 12 foot-pound version. Let's get on with it. Got to be clear and up front, otherwise the trolls will get upset and they'll be like, FX crew. No, I've bought this, I've paid for it out of my own money, right? So it's mine. One of the reasons I've done that is because I actually genuinely liked the look of the rifle and wanted to try one. So I've put my money where my mouth is and I've bought one. A couple of things you don't get with the rifle. You don't get the moderator. I've put that on myself, it's a Donny FL. You don't get the Helix scope or the FX no limit mounts. They're extra, they're dovetail. And you don't get this adapter on the bottom. I've put a swivel stud or a sling stud in there, I've drilled it in myself. So you don't get that either, all right? In the box though, you do get the rifle, obviously. You get a new style FX DRS magazine. You get an instruction book and you get the new style fill probe. And that's what you get in the box. And those are the bits that you don't get. This version is the DRS Classic and it's sub 12 in 2.2. If you don't want the black synthetic soft touch version, you could always go for one of the two Manelli upgrade options, and you've got a standard grade and you've got a grade 2 with a rosewood tip. But if you really want to throw some money at it, you could always go for the MDT Elite chassis version with Premier buttstock. And the rifle itself comes in 177, 2.2 or 2.5. The classic 177 or 2.2 version comes with a 500mm Superior STX barrel liner. If you want the 2.5, it's a 600mm STX barrel liner. And if you go for the Pro, you get a 700mm barrel liner, and that's a Superior heavy one. I'll put the shop counts on the screen now that FX list on their website, if you're too lazy to go and have a look at them yourself. However, none of those really cover the sub 12 market. And you're filling with that cylinder to 230 bar. At the back, there's a resettable safety, and on the top, you get an 11mm dovetail rail. Left-hand side is a pressure gauge for your cylinder. The trigger is adjustable. However, if you go for the Pro version, you get a much improved adjustable trigger. And the air cylinder itself is approximately 208 cc's in classic 177 and 2.2, or 260 if you're in 2.5, or 307 if you're on the Pro. The classic 177 and 2.2 is 927 mils long, classic 2.5 is 1042 mils long, and the Pro is 1120 mils long. I've just sat and read the website out for you. It's good, that, isn't it? The air cylinder at the front, I think, is approximately 33 to 34 mil wide. It's very difficult to get an exact measurement with my tape measure, and I've lost my gauge. But my measurement says approximately 33, 34 mil wide. Row about it in the comments below. One of the biggest selling points of the FX DRS is without doubt its looks. It looks like a rifle. And throughout this video, you're going to hear me say that a lot. It looks like a rifle. However, is it revolutionary? Is it first? Well, I'm going to show you the elephant in the room that may dispute that. And here it is. It's the Artemis M30, and I think this comes out of the Snow Peak factory over in China. Anyway, I saw this about 5 or 6 years ago, so it'd probably been out a few months before that at least. And without doubt, it has got the barrel going through the air cylinder. So which one did I see first? 100% I saw this. However, this was such poor quality when I got it. I had to do a rebuild video. I almost thought I was going to have to chuck it in the bin. But I did a rebuild video. I even had to file bits off the stock to make it work. I mean, why anyone ever lets anything go out like that in such bad quality, I have no idea. But that's how it is. And now it works fine. But which one did I see first? I saw that first. However, when I did see this, I phoned Johan at FX Airguns because I do chat with him, and I said, hey Johan, you should see what I've got. This is fabulous, this is brilliant. And he said, yeah. He said, do you want me to send you the bits to make it work properly? And I didn't quite know what to say to that. So here's the thing. Is it possible that the DRS is actually to FX 5 or 6 years old at least? And if that's true, I wonder what they've got now. And you're going to say to me, well, the Artemis was still first. Yes, quite possibly it was the first to come to market. However, airgun manufacturers all copy each other. I mean, look at the Impact. That came out. And then for the last 5 years, all we've ever seen is Impact copy, Impact copy, Impact copy. And that's just the way it is. But this is kind of like Stephenson's rocket. And this is like a modern electric train. Yeah, there's no competition really. This is by far better. Something to point out, I have made a mistake here. That is, the DRS, the classic version I have, comes with a dovetail rail on the top. There, look, and you've got a little bit at the front and a bit more at the back. They do a Picatinny adapter that slots on over there and raises this up a little bit. They're sort of £70 plus for those Picatinny adapters, and it gives you more play on the scope and better eye relief. Now, I decided to be a cheap bum and not buy one of those, and I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll just use some no limit mounts and I'll be absolutely fine. I am kind of fine, but I should have bought the dovetail to Picatinny adapter rail thing for the top, because it would have given me slightly better eye relief and will have made mounting the scope a little bit easier. I've tried a couple of different variations of mounting the scope, and I finally sort of got comfortable like this. But honestly, yes, buy that accessory if you're going to get one of these, because it will make your time mounting your scope a lot easier. I didn't, and I've regretted it. At the rear, you've got a rubberized shoulder pad, which is very, very nice. It does exactly what it's supposed to be. It's a rubberized shoulder pad. If you take the stock off, and it's very easy to do with one screw at the front here, you will expose the inner workings of the rifle. And it does look very smart and very well put together. It's quite a small block. Reminds me very much of the Streamline. But when you do that, you will see where the AMP Mark II regulator is. In the sub 12 UK market, that is capped off. It's your warranty, it's your problem if you decide to mess with that. At the rear, you'll also be able to see where the hammer spring adjustment is. Again, all I can tell you is that we have laws. I ain't gonna say any more after that. With the stock off, you can also see the fake magazine on the underside. Now, this one actually does absolutely nothing on the sub 12 version, as far as I'm concerned. If you go for the 2.5 or the Pro, the 700mm version, that can get bigger, and they use that as the plenum, okay? I think the reason it's still there on the sub 12 version is because all of the stocks are uniformed, and if you don't have that there, there's going to be a big hole. That would be my thought. Someone might tell me different, but I'm guessing that's why that's there. But for the sub 12 version, it really does nothing, but it looks okay. The side lever loading on the DRS is very smooth, and you can see that there's some quality built in there. So it's not under any sort of spring tension for you. You're going to bring it back to about that point there, and you'll feel it. It sort of sits in a notch, and it's there. There's a little magnet there, which you can see, which is for retaining the bolt when it goes forward. But from this point, you're simply going to come back a little bit further until you get that click. There we go. And the bolt is now back. The thing is, it's not moving. So if you've got to use this in a shooting stage, or you just want to walk around with the bolt open, it will stay open for you as you go around, see, which is quite nice. And then when you push it forward, again, no spring tension, you've got to put it back of your own accord. And there we go. So it is a really simple side lever loading system, nice and smooth, there's some quality in there. And the good thing is, it stays open like that. And you're going to say, what's he doing? There's no magazine in it. Shake it like a salt cellar. And I have to say, it really, really does look like a traditional rifle. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, there'll be loads of people out there that want to put comments in and tell us all about it. But it is amazing how far air rifles have come. We're now looking at a rifle that looks like a rifle. And this cylinder here, as we say, has the air going through it. That's your charge, that's where your power is held. And it is very, very clever. Going through that air cylinder is a barrel system. Now, my understanding is that has like a STX liner inside that barrel system. You can change the STX liner. I'm not doing it on video. I haven't seen anyone yet take one of these apart. I'm sure there probably is someone that's done it, but I haven't seen it. I'm not stripping it down and messing with it because it works and I'm quite happy with it. What I would say though is that the actual barrel housing system is tailor-made for the DRS rifle. So if you've got loads of barrel housing systems for your impact and your crown and stuff like that, you're not going to be able to put those in there. All right, it is a tailor-made barrel system for the DRS. Now, with the barrel going through that air cylinder, FX likes to say that you're going to get very little movement on that barrel system, and I can understand that. A 5 or 10 bar PSI or whatever on anything makes things pretty much immovable, and I think that pressure of several hundred bar or PSI is going to make that actual barrel housing very rigid. It is. Just from basic science, I think it's going to be very difficult to move it. However, I do think the STX liner is still inside that outer barrel sleeve, if that makes any sense. So you may need to still help with support on that if you wanted to. I don't see the need to, but some people out there would say, well, we still want to. And if you still want to, that's fine. That's what carbon liners are there for. But the actual barrel housing itself is probably so rigid in there, you just ain't going to move it. Are there any dislikes? Well, there is a glaring one. There is one that stands out for me, and that's this new mini mag system. It is small and it is cute, without doubt. But once you've got the cap off, like that, it is quite fiddly to spin and get your pellets in. But it is a lot better quality than some of the earlier FX magazines. The other thing is as well is that when you actually come to put the magazine into the side of the gun, into the breech, it's really, really stiff. And those O-rings look like they're going to rip themselves apart. Now, in some other videos I've seen online, these magazines only have one O-ring. This other one just isn't there. So whether FX have made a design change in the last few weeks, I don't know. But mine is really stiff to get in, and it does look like the breech is going to rip those O-rings apart. Okay, yeah, I've got to be truthful. That is why the Orion DRS magazine works so well. It's got a magnetic top. You take the top off, you rotate it, okay, and then you put the top back on like that. There you go, and then you put it in the side. I will be honest, you know, you're going to get a little bit of pellet movement in there. So if you're after absolute stealthivity, no, you're always going to hear the pellets moving around. But the fact that you can load and unload that easily and the top just snaps back on, I would say is far better than the FX mag. Something else I've seen people comment about, and I'm going to mention it, even though I've never had it as a problem, is that apparently there is an issue with the trigger. And that is that when you go from stage 1 through to stage 2, where you're going to let the shot break, the trigger doesn't spring back. I've never noticed it, but in the voice of fairness, I'm going to give it a go. So there's no magazine in the gun, there's nothing in the gun. So I'm going to put it on fire, and I'm at a range, there's nothing down there, okay? And I'm going to very gently just touch the trigger. I go through to where the shot should break, and the trigger springs back. There we go. I'm going to let the shot go. There's nothing there. So I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm not saying it doesn't happen on some rifles. Whether or not it's an adjustment you could ask your RFD about, I don't know. But for me, I'm not seeing that as a problem. there is one thing that people say about FX rifles, and that is that the hammer spring, when not cocked, there's nothing in the rifle, slides up and down. Yes. Oh, you hear it? Just in there. And there we go. So it does it on that one. Now I will admit, years ago, when I first went from a Springer to a PCP, I couldn't quite get on with the whole bottle thing at the front. I grew to love it and I accepted it. But this really is the shape that I love now. I don't ever want to have to deal with a carbon bottle again, if I'm honest, because this looks so much like a rifle. It just does. Granted, this is a bit more bulky than a regular rifle barrel on its own, but it is so well put together for me, and it does look so good. And when you're shooting with it, that fore end there is just right. It is absolutely right. You know, I'm able to scan the field and look around comfortably, focus on a target. It looks like a rifle. And like I say, some of you may not like that. But for me, just the fact of how it looks, how it shoulders, how it feels, and it doesn't have that big carbon bottle at the front or the back. I really do like it. Accuracy then. And I started at 20 yards in a breeze. And because I want you to actually have some evidence that it's me doing the shooting, because too much of it is fluffed on the internet these days, including lying on likes, I'm using the rubbish scope cam. Why don't I use something else? Well, because the scope cams I have all become a pain in the posterior. Different batteries, different mountings, it's just a pain. And no, it does not produce the most accurate shots for video, but people like evidence, or they have a hissy fit about it. So here we are, a snapshot of pellet testing at 20 yards. And just so you know, I'm using an Accu Tac Bipod and a Sabre Tactical Pro monopod to help me get the most accuracy. Yes, with that monopod it is cheating, but the rifle can then really show what it can do. The Sabre monopod allows me to dial onto the target, hold and take the shot. It's way more steady than I'm capable of using my rubbish scope cam. I've just had to watch my own scope cam footage back because I couldn't actually remember which pellets were which, and I've just seen the footage and it's pretty horrendous. Never mind, I tried. But from the groups there, and I will put a close-up for you, it's 20 yards. I don't have any issues with that at all. In fact, it's kind of between the FX Zone and the H&N, but they're all pretty much the same. If you wanted to be really picky, I would say the rapid speed, I think it was the rapid speed through 1 high, but if you want to be picky. But at 20 yards, is the DRS accurate in 2.2? Yes, it is. And let's be quite clear, I bought this gun, I bought it. It would have gone out to a regular store, so it's not an FX special. Let's be clear. The thing I have been doing is putting cleaning pellets through it. Every sort of 10-15 shots, I've put a cleaning pellet through because I want to get the best accuracy out of it. That's my secret. Out of the box then, and genuinely, this is around the first 10 or so magazines I've put through the DRS, I'm getting around 10.7, 10.8 foot-pounds with a 15.89 grain pellet. Some of you out there will cry, that's wildly low, you can't have it like that, I've paid my money. Okay, well, then you need to have a conversation with yourself and think, well, does an extra half a foot-pound really make a lot of difference? Because for me, it seems to be doing quite well. If you want to turn things and make adjustments, that's entirely up to you. But you can deal with the warranty, because once you start fiddling, you ain't got a warranty. I'm happy with what that rifle's sat at, and it's working very nicely for me. That group there, I got 4 under a 5p coin. Now I will grant you the one to the side it's a scope cam. You can see how I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to shoot through the screen on a handheld camera. Not the easiest. So what I did is I took the handheld camera off, and the very next group I got that for under the 5p coin, and one just on the outside. And then I had another go at that target up there because I had a bit of a twizzle with the scope, and I got about 10 through that hole there under a 5p. If you're pest controlling and that's the head of whatever it is you're aiming at, you're going to be dealing with your pest problem. And if you want to drop one on top of the other at 54 yards, then yes, maybe a little bit of barrel cleaning and a little bit of tweaking on the tune, and you might tighten that group up a little bit. But out of the box, I'm quite happy with that. You have to keep things in perspective. It's not as accurate as my Impact M3 177. With heavy pellets, I can drop one on top of the other at 50 yards with that easily. But this is more than half the price of my Impact. So if we're talking about half a centimetre, you got to weigh up that extra cost for that extra half a centimetre, or maybe a little bit more. But for what that rifle is, because you've got to keep it in perspective, you know, just under £800, the looks, the design of it, the way it works, and I've paid my money, as I keep saying, I'm very happy. There are those of you out there sat in your underwear saying, why didn't you shoot at 25 yards? I shoot everything at 25 yards. Well, there you go. I've just done it. I've been doing a bit more experimenting, way more than you ever actually see. And I can tell you that that's the JSB Express Jumbo Diablos at 25 yards. And this is called wind, because there's 5 shots basically through the same hole there. And then the wind changed and it didn't give me such a good group. 25 yards is the DRS, capable of doing, well, that group there. The answer is yes. There we are. Accuracy is done, let's move on. When you walk in the field with the DRS, without doubt, it wants to tip down at the front. When you bring it up to shoot, yes, without doubt, you do feel a little bit more weight at the front. And I think that probably is down to the fact that you've got that fairly meaty air cylinder just there. Don't hold me to it, but I do think that if you go for the Pro version, there is the option of going for a carbon or a lighter air cylinder on the front just there, which would help out with that. It's not something that's ever going to make you not want to take the rifle out, but everyone says, what's the balance point? How does it feel? Well, it is a little front heavy. FX knows how to make a really good synthetic soft touch stock, and this is a really good one. I think we've seen these on Wildcats before, and some editions of the Crown. It is a really nice stock. I don't think it's wood, I think it's some sort of injection process, but that finish is really nice. And talking about that stock, it is ambidextrous at the back. However, the rifle isn't. It's right hand cocking, and I don't see any way of moving that to the left, and I have no idea if they're going to do a left-handed version. Email FX and ask them. I doubt it, but you can ask. So I reckon I need to hold about 4, which is about there. Oh! What's my camera doing? A bit there. No. I can go a little bit. Whoa! Over we go. There's a breeze, I can feel the breeze. Oh! shot count then, I've just finished magazine number 12 from a 230 bar fill. So 12 times 12, 12 times 12 is 144. So from a 230 bar fill, I've got at least 144 shots out of a sub 12 foot-pound 22 DRS. And looking at the gauge, it's just on 100 bar. Anywhere between 100 and 80 bar, I would think, is probably where the reg is set, so it's going to tip over. So let's be sensible. And I'm saying at the moment, I've got 144 shots out of that little cylinder. So what are my final thoughts on the FX DRS? It's fabulous. For its price point, got to say it, it is the best looking air rifle out there. And remember, this is an air rifle, even though it looks like something else. For me, it's accurate enough for its price point. Granted, if you want to go for something a little bit more, you could always go with an M3 or an M4. But price point wise, this is fabulous. I can see a lot of options for aftermarket parts. I think you're going to be able to bling this up. Chassis and all that sort of stuff, I'm sure, is going to come. More rails, more adaptation, maybe more power if you're on an FAC ticket or somewhere outside of the UK. It is fabulous. I've put several hundred shots through it now. It's been faultless, it's worked. The only thing I've changed on it is that magazine. I don't like that magazine, but I've put the Orion one in and it's shot flawlessly. Yes, it's mine, I bought it, I paid for it, I keep saying that, and I'm not getting rid of it. It is a fabulous rifle, and I'm really pleased with my purchase. I'm just going to add one more thing there. I'm fortunate enough to work in the air rifle industry, and I see an awful lot of stuff. I've got quite bored a lot of it. Probably one of the reasons why you don't see so many videos is because it's just the same old stuff over and over again. Special edition this, special edition that. We've changed the regulator here, or we've done this, or we've done that. When something new in shape and form like that comes out, and I know there's the earlier incarnations from the Chinese years ago, it sort of puts a little bit of spark back into it, and it makes me want to get back out there and shoot a bit more. And that's what this rifle has done. And that's it. That's why I like it so much. There you are then. That's my review of the FX Airguns DRS 22 sub 12 foot-pound rifle. And that's the classic in the synthetic stock. If you've liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Please also do subscribe. And if you want to see more fabulous videos like this, then please visit airgun101.com, which is the best place for free airgun videos on the internet. And if you like what I do, you can always visit my day job, which is airgun101shop.co.uk. In my opinion, probably one of the best airgun shops in the UK for accessories and things like that. That's it. There we are. Carry on now. Cheerio.